range that is a good quality, competing at international level against other producers of that price range. To do that, we find that we do not do mechanical harvesting very often. A few wineries do, but they're competing at lower end products. And with a hand-picked fruit, we generally pick the fruit, hypothetically on a Monday. In this case, Thursday is our first day of harvest. We refrigerate the fruit. Cold fruit being processed releases less aromatic flavors, easier to control, no biological activity. This is a destemmer. A destemmer has, this spins around real fast. This has small holes, that has big holes. As this spins around, it will separate the stems from the berries. Larger berries, smaller berries. The stems fall out here, the berries fall into here. They can be whole berry or crushed. These are crusher rollers, so we can have whole berry or small berry. Done the world over, destemming. From this point, a white wine would go into a press, squish the grapes, technical word being squished, and the grape juice will go in for settling and fermentation. In a red wine, here's where it gets a little bit more different, if you will. I like my good English, more different. Red wines get their color from the skins. They get most of their tannin from the seeds. In a warm growing climate like California and Rhone Valley and places, Australia, the seeds get very, very dark, very chocolatey, very cocoa, and that lovely, lovely Napa Cabernet Sauvignon flavor of tannin that takes a long time to age to enjoyment has wonderful flavors that we want to pay good money for. In Virginia, with weather like this sometimes, we don't get those dark chocolatey seeds. So we don't want seeds to give us the flavor profiles that young, green, brown, not black seeds give, which are more bitter, more astringent characters. A way to change that is to have north-south row orientation, pull the leaves around the fruit clusters, get the fruit as ripe as possible. When we go through this process, what I find is to, instead of having a pump this to a tank in red wine production, having that red wine being pumped into the tank after the wine is finished fermenting, to pump it into the press, you're pumping seeds. Those seeds release tannins, they release bitter, astringent characters in less ripe fruit that Virginia is known for. 15, 20 years ago, Virginia had a lot of green, harsh red wines, and they were lousy wines. I used to make those. A lot of us drank them, or tried to sell them at least. The way to get away from that is maximize skin phenolics, maximize skin textures and flavors, and minimize what the seed has to offer. So we pull cold fruit, process into here. The cold fruit won't ferment with indigenous yeast. We'll keep it cold for a few days, called cold soaking, then add yeast. We can actually add enzymes as well, which will help decompose, for lack of a better word, the skins and the pulp into a soup of unfermented wine, juice, pulp, seed, mush. In that mush, the seed is still encapsulated by the pulp. So the seed is not exposed, and it's cold. The wine ferments during fermentation. The temperature gets warm, 80, 85 degrees. At the height of fermentation, when it's warm, the seed is exposed to the fermenting juice and wine, and therefore the emulsification, if you will, of the oils in the seed and the tannins go into the juice to get the texture called tannin. When the wine is warm and then you pump it from a tank to a press, you're going to get a lot more of the emulsification, oils, and seed tannin out that we may not want in Virginia. So by cold soaking and maximizing skin texture, and by what we do is ferment here, and these bins, hand push them down. During harvest time, we might have 15, 20, 25, 30 bins out here. We push them down a couple times per day. The seeds will fall to the bottom, and we will pick up the forklift truck and dump into here the fermented wine. The seeds actually stay behind in the bottom of that bin. The seeds are never pumped. The seeds are very minimally incorporated during fermentation, so we minimize seed interaction in winemaking. Other wineries in Virginia who do ferment in stainless tanks will also do ways to minimize seed interaction. What this does is a couple of things as a final product. Less tannin and an earlier to market red wine. If you want extra tannin, there are products you can add to wines to bring in extra tannins. There's a lot of ways to bring up your tannin level in wine. But anyway, this production methodology is how Pinot Noirs are often made in Burgundy, and it's a way to help Virginia identify itself as a regional producer with a regional style, regional quality. And when you taste our wines, when you taste wines of Virginia that are made this way, you come up with a synergy, a flavor profile that's very, very similar. And again, what we're trying to get to was, here's a California Cabernet, here's a Virginia Cabernet or Merlot, and here's a French or Australian. So you have climate reasons, you have production reasons to make a synergistic wine that's very consistent. And if we can